Hey, primates, links to the video we react to today are in the description below. Also be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the little bell to be notified whenever we go live or put out new content. It really helps us out. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show. Actually, this is a good way to segue into this. I kind of want to check this out. People have been, I didn't realize this, but all over Twitter, all over Instagram, people have been talking about Digital Circus 2. I gotta release that freaking video. I might just release that today, actually, because at this point, so many people are talking about it. I kind of want to get involved in that conversation. Now, what are people saying about Jax? What happened to Jax in episode 2? People have been, like, mad that they're saying that Jax was ruined, Jax was, like, this, that, and the other, but I feel, like, me personally, I'll let my feelings be known about this. I personally, I thought episode 2, Jax was being Jax. I didn't feel like he was out of character in any kind of way. But let's go over this. I'm gonna click like and subscribe. As always, my dudes, go and support. I'm gonna drop the link in the Discord. Please go drop him some likes, drop him some subscribes, comments, so the algorithm knows he's making great content. If you don't know what to say on the comments, if you can't think of anything to say, just go ahead and drop a little call sign we have in the description of this video, of this VOD. That's just a good way to let him know where the love is coming from, my dudes. But please, go give him some support. Let's see what he's got to say. What happened to Jax in episode 2?
Just released, and we saw a lot more about Jax's personality, where in the majority of the time, he acted way meaner in episode 1, even though beforehand, we thought he was going to be depressed because of this scene, where we see him moving his finger in the water, but when we actually...
Yeah, well, he was depressed. He was sad. He was sad that he couldn't commit a genocide.
Saw the episode, we saw that he was actually being cruel, and he's actually had a little bit of character development in some of these scenes, like where we saw Jax interacting with Zooble, and after Kane announces a new adventure, Zooble says she's not going, and Jax asks her if she doesn't want to mess with the new AI, and their dynamic seems to be interesting. While Jax can manipulate others like Gangle or Ragatha, it seems like Zooble does not care what Jax has to say, but he seems to also respect her, and after Zooble leaves, Jax...
Does he respect her? I didn't get that at all from it. Like, here's my going theory, right? To me, it feels like feels like they're pretty much just giving us like different attitudes towards like how the characters react to incarceration, because that's what's happening. They're all prisoners here. So like, Gangle here is basically depressed at all times, submissive, shy. She's depressed. She's sad all the time. Jax is a sadistic jerk about everything. Like, that's just how the person he becomes in incarceration. He became a sadistic jerk. Ragatha seems to just accept reality, no matter how harsh or cruel it could be. She's just fine with it, because at this point, she's, what else can you do? She feels hopeless about it. So she just sort of accepts the reality for what it is and is very go with the flow about everything, very, like, passive about everything. Zooble feels to me like she does not care about anything. Like, she's just done with it. She doesn't want to be involved. She doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to do anything. Like I said, Ragatha just sort of like very... I'm sure there's a word for it that's better, but basically she's just like, she just accepts the reality for what it is, no matter how bad it may be. And Pomni is in straight denial for the most part. And of course, Kinger is straight up just lost his mind. So that's how I feel.
She's not going, and Jax...
I feel like each person is handling incarceration differently. Zubul's just done. She wants nothing to do with any of it.
Sir, if she doesn't want to mess with the new AI, and their dynamic seems to be interesting. While Jax can manipulate others like Gangle or Ragatha, it seems like Zooble does not care what Jax has to say, but he seems to also respect her. And
seems to respect her? He ripped her arm off and used it as a back scratcher.
After Zooble leaves, Jax breaks the fourth wall by looking at the camera and shrugging, which I didn't even notice until now. And after this scene, Kane pushes the circus members through the gate and into the Candy Canyon Kingdom, where Jax only gets excited when he sees the truck that the princess provides them, and he says, "Ooh, violence." And that was the line that Goosework shared out of context, and now it makes perfect sense why Jax said it. We can also see how after they're left alone and all of the main characters...
Yeah, because they give him like a Mad Max style vehicle to chase down the Mad Max style villain, you know? Isn't that it was a reference to Mad Max, I felt like.
They're sitting in the truck. Jax immediately starts to act like he was in charge. He pulls out the candy shotgun, which we saw in the trailer as well, and he points it to Gangle, telling her what to do. And it does seem like Jax is trying to keep himself sane by being mean to everyone and causing chaos. Because in the next shot, he grabs Pygmy by her neck and throws her out of the roof of the truck. So I'm thinking that he would literally sacrifice any of the other circus members just so he can keep himself sane. And that is why Gooseworks said that there is nothing heroic about Jax.
Yeah, no, that's the point. He's a jerk. He's a sadistic jerk. That's the same vibe. I got that same vibe from him in episode 1 too.
Completely self-absorbed, and in the next scene where he is again, he's telling Gangle to ram into the other truck, and Ragatha tries to warn him that Pygmy's on top, and he just pushes Ragatha out of the way and says to Gangle, "Do it, it'll be epic." Jax also says, "Do it or I'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing," and this seems to be blackmail, which makes me think about how Jax is probably involved with the lives of the others in the circus and probably knows a lot of the little details about everyone else, so he can use that information to his advantage if he needs to, which of course is blackmail. Like if you remember back to episode 1, when Jax, Pygmy, and Ragatha went to see Kaufmo, Jax pulled out the key to Kaufmo's room and said that he put centipedes in Ragatha's room. And so it also makes sense that Jax has a key to Gangle's room as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure it does, but it's like that's a perfect example. He put freaking centipedes, poisonous, painful centipedes, in Ragatha's room.
But as for why Gangle doesn't
this is all within his character, I feel like.
Figurine thing, I'm not even sure what that is. Maybe Gangle makes figurines of the NPCs and circus members, and for some reason, the one
I figured Gangle was just like a weeb. She has like anime figures.
About Ragatha might be embarrassing or weird, or maybe what she does with the figurines is weird, and maybe she doesn't like Ragatha. I'm not 100% sure, but it is interesting that Jax is manipulating Gangle by saying he will snitch on her. Not only is Jax evil, but he will use other people's secrets to his advantage. But the thing is, Ragatha is
well, again, he's not evil. I feel like that's too harsh. He's not evil. He's sadistic. He's a jerk. Like, no, actually, he may be evil. I mean, he freaking unlocked the freaking cat. Like, he actually did get his genocide at the end. Never mind, yeah, he's pretty evil.
Super kind to everyone, even after Pygmy.
But again, he makes it like Kane. This is not his first adventure. It's not his first rodeo, and Kane has made it very clear that only they are real. Everyone else is just NPCs.
Twice, so I'm not sure why Gangle would be
so Jax
worried
is
if
working,
Ragatha is going to figure
if
out
anything,
about the
Jax
figurine thing.
Understands the position he's in, understands that there's reality and then there's non-reality, and he's playing by the rules. He doesn't care about these you know, what happens in here, because he knows that there's cartoon logic. They're not really gonna be hurt, you know, by, for example, Pygmy being stretched, like her arms being stretched and whatnot. Jax understands that they can't actually be hurt, I feel like.
What I'm thinking is that Jax doesn't really care about telling Ragatha Gangle's secret. He cares about Gangle into a state of panic where she would do anything he wants, which is really twisted. And if you look at it, I think this is the only time that Gangle smiled while she was sad. And the fact that he would also kill Pygmy if it meant to make the adventure more exciting is actually crazy. However, I think that it is true that the circus members can't die in the circus world, because Ragatha literally got stabbed through the heart, and when they were looking for—
yeah, no, I think Kane can pretty much do like it's not Pygmy, like none of this sure in King the adventure is real.
You could just ask Kane to find Pygmy if it comes to the worst.
Yeah,
but he still was willing to abandon Pygmy and let stuff happen.
Again, but I feel like Jax understands that no matter what, Kane will fix it. You get what I'm saying? He has a free ticket to be a jerk.
Because it is true that the circus members do still feel pain, and I'm sure the part where Ragatha got stabbed through the heart was excruciating pain. But
that
the part where they fell into the chocolate lake and the fudge monster tells a story about eating the town people, Ragatha says that it's murder. And the chocolate fudge monster says, is it really murder if it's delicious? And Jax says, great point. So we see how Jax actually thinks about himself in this situation, where he gets enjoyment out of seeing others suffer or even die. And that's just nasty.
It's
and if you really
yeah.
justifies his actions by these morals, that means that he's not remorseful. Well, there actually might be some character development here. If we fast forward to a later part of the episode where the characters are back in the tent and they're having the funeral for Kaufmo, Ragatha explains to Pomni how they like to hold these ceremonies to remember those who abstract, and Kinger says it's the least that they can do. And when it cuts to Jax, you can actually see Jax's face softening for a split second, and
But okay, I mean, yeah, sure, but to me, it feels like at least what I interpolated out of that situation was that like this is
those who
a
abstract.
fact
And
of
Kinger
reality.
says it's the least that they
It's
can.
like this is now your existence. You are going to go on adventures. You are going to live here without memory of who you are or what you are, and the only thing you have to hope and look forward to is abstracting. Because eventually, everyone's going to abstract.
And when it cuts to Jax, you can actually...
You get me? If anything, it feels like I didn't get the vibe of like he doesn't care about Kaufmo. I got more of a vibe of like he's trying to avoid the harsh reality of it, and he doesn't want to. You know, why else would he be a jerk? He's like scared of the situation, and so he's just trying to freaking like have fun and make like that. But unfortunately, it's pretty sadistic. The type of fun that he likes, but he's just trying to sort of like have control over other people, have control over his life, have control over his environment, and a big thing about when people fear death, it's the need to control death, the need to control the people around them, the power around them.
Jax's face softening for a
ultimately,
second,
with death, you have no control
and doesn't attend the funeral. And what I'm thinking is that maybe Jax grew to like Kaufmo, but he can't just let himself show any emotion to the other circus members except for being annoyed or violent, which is his mask to protect himself. Because when the circus members give their speeches, we can't hear what they're saying. We can only see that everyone liked Kaufmo and they feel like they lost someone out of the group. Because when you spend a lot of your time with someone, you start to care about them. So even if Kaufmo's jokes weren't the absolute best, as we know from episode 1, it seems that the characters still loved him, so they had a funeral for him. And we can see that how Jax had a nickname for Kaufmo, and he has his bowling ball in his room. So maybe Jax and Kaufmo were spending time together, and that's why Jax cared about Kaufmo. He just didn't want to show that to portray this tough guy act. And interestingly, when we saw the scene where Jax is sitting alone in the sunset looking all sad, that wasn't the character development we thought of. Instead of Jax being remorseful about his acts, he's just sad that the adventure was boring because nothing violent happened, and it's weird to see how Gangle and Ragatha are towards Jax. When he said he was disappointed with the adventure, Ragatha told him that maybe the next one is gonna be more in his favor, but she must known that would mean that she would suffer even more, because thanks to Jax, Ragatha got a knife in her head, and we know how—
like I said, she's like, I feel like this is the way that she is, Ragatha, and he put it a better way than I did, because I said that this is basically how their reaction is to incarceration, but I think it is not only the incarceration, but just the way that they, approach— Freak, what'd he say? He said, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, the way that they try to keep themselves sane. And I feel like Ragatha, in order to keep herself sane, just agrees and goes with whatever's happening. She just accepts the reality for what it is, and you know what I mean? So
the characters can feel pain, so I'm thinking that they're used to Jax's cruelty. Or maybe Ragatha just wanted to comfort him just because she didn't want tension between them. She does say a lot of things that she probably doesn't mean, putting her own feelings aside and wanting everyone to feel loved, going to show her motherly figure. And it is very admirable to see how much Ragatha cares about everyone even if they don't care about her. For example, when Pomni and Gummy Goo are back, Ragatha immediately runs over like a mother would and asks if Pomni is okay. But in the next episode, I'm thinking we'll figure out a lot more about Jax, because we're seeing his personality unfold even more. And I'm happy that he didn't shoot anyone with the candy shotgun he had, but I'm hoping that he'll also try to become a better person. And I think that we might see him be even more evil in the next few episodes, but I do hope that we'll see a little bit more of his relationship with Kaufmo, because based on his face, it looks like he got a little bit emotional about Kaufmo abstracting. And it makes me wonder, maybe Jax had something to do with Kaufmo Kaufmo abstracting, and maybe that's why he's feeling a bit sad, because he did look a bit annoyed after we saw the bit of emotion come through his face, so maybe he remembered somebody else who didn't get a funeral. Maybe it's possible.
It could be that, or it could also be more of like a defeated sort of like, he doesn't really see the point in a funeral, hates the idea of a funeral, and so he just sort of like,
Honestly, I don't think that he made any real friends in the circus yet. As it was said by Gooseworks, no one in the circus actually likes Jax. However, Ragatha still loves him and is super admirable. I would not be able to do what Ragatha does. Or maybe I could, but I'm gonna be struggling. We actually do know that Jax got in the circus when he was quite young, but Gooseworks also said that he deserves to be in the circus the most out of all characters, so that would mean that his personality wasn't that nice even in his human form while he was younger. So what I'm thinking is that acting this way is his way of coping in the video game of the Amazing Digital Circus, which is understandable but in a twisted way, obviously. And so I'm wondering if the other circus members might snap at one point and start to match Jax's attitude. And I think that he would be very taken off guard if someone acted the same way to him as he is acting to others. And hopefully he will change and we'll see a trailer for episode 3 where Jax is nicer for once, but we did assume.
I don't know. I think Jax is a little overrated, honestly. He's got, I don't know why people want him to have such a freaking big redemption arc or something. I feel like, if anything, we're gonna start to find out more and more that he's actually a psychopath. That's what I feel like is gonna happen. We're gonna find out more and more that he's truly the villain.
Wrong with the episode 2 trailer, but that's besides the point. But let me know what you think about Jax in episode 2. Me personally, he was cruel. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video here.
Yeah, I feel like people are reading too much into it. Like, he's not a complicated character, really. It's pretty, like, I feel like, yeah, he's just, he's pretty much just a freaking, like, sadistic jerk. There's not really much else to get into, I feel like. But I can see what they're saying about the Kaufmo situation. It'd be interesting to see what his relationship was like with Kaufmo. But they make it seem and sound like Kaufmo, in general, has always been, like, well-liked by everyone in the circus. So maybe that's why Jax did like him. I can see that, for sure. I like the video. It's a great video. Definitely go check it out, my dudes, and give him some support. I like the points he made. Thank you so much, Primates, for watching this all the way to the end. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as hit the little bell for a rainbow explosion that will go ahead and notify you every single time we go live or put out new content. Thank you so much, goodbye, and thanks for swinging by.